Welcome everybody to the X Factor podcast. Today we're going to get into it with a good episode, and we are talking about Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw at Raw After Mania was last night, and my God, it was a very good episode. Follow the TikTok, follow the Twitter for any more football wrestling content. I mostly post wrestling, but now that the draft is coming around, you're gonna see some more football related stuff coming by. Some basketball, some stuff coming around. Coming around that time. With the NBA draft and MLB just starting getting fully into baseball. So that's going all right for me. I'm ready to get right into it. Start off the show. Well, actually, I'm going to talk about before the show. Before the show, there was a video of when it was all over Twitter. It was a video of just the lights going out and some music playing, and next thing you know, the lights they just turn back on. And of course, if you didn't watch the Bray Wyatt documentary, at the end there was Uncle Howdy teaser, and then during the Hall of Fame at the end there was another. What it looked like was an Uncle Howdy teaser. So this could be another Uncle Howdy teaser. It would be cool to see him. I don't know if they're bringing him back as full Uncle Howdy or if they're bringing him back as Bo Dallas. But either way, the Easter eggs that they're bringing, kind of like how Bray did, it was very creative way to do it. And we all ate it up when Bray was doing the little Easter eggs for him coming back, So I'm actually looking forward to a lot of those Easter eggs coming out. So that is something to look forward to over the next couple of weeks. Also, I am going to be posting on Twitter. Follow. It's Olis X Factor Sports. Either way you look at it, it's still there. We just hit 500 followers on there. I'm gonna be posting my match ratings from the show. So the ones for Raw is already up. So if you want to go see them, go look at them, and through NXT, AEW. Even if I'm watching Ring of Honor or TNA or hell, anything, if it's a wrestling event that's currently happening, I will put the match rating on there for to see what y'all think. And I will let you know I have the qualifications for each, the rating system. A 5 is one of the best matches I've ever seen. 4.5 to 4.75 is a certified banger. 4 to 4.25 is excellent. 4.5 to 3.5 to 3.75 is great / very good. 3 to 3.25 is good. 2.5 to 2.75 is alright. 2 to 2.25 is mid. And anything under that is either a job match or a very bad match. And if you get a negative, that means get off my television. So that is how to. So sorry for that. Had a little bit miscommunication there. So that is the new rating system coming into play. Just starting now. I've been doing ratings for since the start of the new year. I'm just putting out there, like, why should I even post it if no one's gonna see what I think? So I'm gonna start posting them on Twitter, and you're gonna see a lot of my opinions and all that. One of the things is just my love for wrestling. It's like, just want to express the love that I have for wrestling and what good memories it's going to bring us down in the future and the memories that they have brought us. So one of the good memories happened tonight. Cody Rhodes, he starts off the show. Well, Triple H starts off the show, entering us into this new era of wrestling for WWE, and starts it out with the leader, the guy who's going to bring us into the new era, the new WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes comes out. He has the new side plates. It all looks very, very good, very cool. And the belt on him just feels right. It feels like he's been champion 100 times over. The crowd response was positive, even though a lot of people, when they win championships, they kind of turn on him. Cody, his crowd response sounded great. Had the "Do You Deserve It" chants. And they also have dropped the Universal name from the Undisputed Championship, which is good because I thought Universal Championship was just stupid. It's just the WWE Championship. That's what it is. We had "Thank You Roman" chants. I feel like those "Thank You Roman" chants were huge. Even though if Roman would have won, we would have had different types of chants. But we have to think about it. Roman, he carried WWE through the pandemic era and all this. Without Roman's reign, who knows where we're sitting right now. So "Thank You Roman" was definitely needed because he helped us build up the foundation to get to the point where Cody could be champion, and helping throughout the pandemic era, even when a lot of people thought he was retired. And we just have to acknowledge that he is one of the greatest and has one of the best title reigns in wrestling history. So Cody Rhodes, he didn't really talk about much about his first opponent, which we'll find out down the road. Which I'll get into that here in a little bit. Who I think should be, should be his number one contender. The Rock comes out. The Rock, they had a stare down for like a good 7 minutes, solid minutes. It was a long time. The whole promo was 45 minutes, which is a ridiculous amount of time for a promo. And The Rock mentions how he's going away for a while, but when he comes back, he's still going after Cody Rhodes. He takes shots at the Philadelphia fans, and then he tells Cody that he wants to hold his championship, which was very, very weird. This is awkward chance. Definitely was one of the things to think about when that whole segment was going on, because it's like, why do you want to hold on to that championship, And he holds it. Cody got to hold his championship. It looked like it was a very big teaser of them, having a Cody Rhodes versus Rock match, which I would be up for it. I expressed that hell, if Roman or if Rock would have won the championship at some point with this new character that he's brought in, I would have been happy with it. He's made it very enjoyable to be, even though a lot of people were upset about the whole Rock situation in the first place. But overall, the whole segment was very, very good. And also at the end, Rock put something in his pocket, and he tells him don't break his heart again, which was very, very weird. Don't know what he put in his pocket. The Rock said that Cody Rhodes didn't even need to look to see what was in his hand, and just tells him not to break his heart again, which I was very confused, like, what are we getting out of this, And obviously they're teasing for The Rock versus Cody at a SummerSlam potential. I'm assuming Rock, of course, has to do a movie, but so the big one would probably be SummerSlam, and I'd be up for it. But as if for Cody's, who should be the first challenger, one of the things people have been saying, throwing out a lot of names, but one of the names, he hasn't been around in a while, but they had a video package for him, is Sheamus. Sheamus, he is a guy who has been wanting, a shot at that championship for a while. Especially, when the Brawling Brutes were going after with the Bloodline, you probably would have thought that Sheamus probably would have had a shot. He never had his shot for it. So now, you look at it, like, Sheamus doesn't have Pete Dunne around. He doesn't have Ridge. Like, Sheamus, it's time for him to get his own, spot. And I feel like with Triple H's booking style, Sheamus could be the best that he's had in his whole career, in my opinion. So that's just one of the few people that you think about. I thought Cena, Cena trying to break the record for most WWE Championship reigns. That would definitely be an option. Randy Orton, Gunther, but I think Gunther is more going for King of the Ring in my opinion. King Gunther just sounds perfect in that sense. So that are just a couple of things to think about. Hang on. First match, Shinsuke Nakamura comes out. And nobody knew what was gonna happen. Nobody knew what was even gonna any of the matches that was gonna happen tonight. Unless you've seen, the plans for Raw and all the spoiler stuff, which is, I don't look at that because I like to surprise myself. Shinsuke, he gets in the ring and all that. Next thing you know, you hear Ilya Dragunov's theme, the NXT champion. I freaked out because it's like, holy shit, we haven't seen, with how last year's Raw After Mania went, you probably didn't think any NXT guy was going to come up, or, anything, and Ilya comes out, and I'm like, holy shit, like, Ilya Dragunov is really on fucking Monday Night Raw right now, like, that is, that's some crazy ass shit, so they have a match. It was about a 4-minute match. It wasn't, a long match, but the 4 minutes that they gave us, it was fucking good. Like, they were going at it with each other. And people could say, like, Shinsuke being washed and all this, but Shinsuke, he could still go. It's not like the old Shinsuke, but still, Shinsuke still has some left in the tank that could, get him through for the next couple of years, But then Ilya Dragunov, he gets the win. It was a very good match to start the show off. Also, Michael Cole announced that the draft will be happening on Friday, the 26th, and Monday, the 29th of April. So we are having our annual yearly draft, which the way they made it seem like is that NXT will be able to draft too, which is going to be very interesting. And of course, of how everything's going to play out. It could just be for people who have not been booked well or been put up as much on the main roster. So it's just a way to get them on to NXT. Like guys like Cedric Alexander, Cameron Grimes, and all that. And also announced that Ilya Dragunov will be in the draft. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. Let's see here. The next piece of this great show that we've had, Judgment Day comes out, and of course the new World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest. His suit was all red. It looked very cool. The championship just looks fitting on him. And Rhea and Damien celebrating that they're champions, and next thing you know, behind it's R-Truth with the tag titles, trying to say that he brought the tag titles back to Judgment Day. And that was a very funny. Right there, and the Miz comes out, and they're also trying to convince R-Truth that he's not in Judgment Day anymore, which is still very funny. It's like Truth. It's weird that and I've always thought for a while that comedy characters like Truth, you don't really see those many champions anymore, or ever. And Truth has just made it all work. And the thing is with Truth, it's just like, you can look at him, he can make the jokes, but it's still funny, he keeps you very entertained. So it's and the whole thing with him joining Judgment Day and all that's been going on since November, and it's just been very funny to see how it's all played out with, now him trying to get back in Judgment Day with the tag titles. But they ended up having a match, which Truth said that they had a sixth partner that no one could see him, which referencing one particular man, and Miz thought it was Little Jimmy. Truth goes, no, it's Little Jimmy. And he was going to say, my partner, and he was going to mention who his partner was, and then Judgment Day just started beating the hell out of him. And, they have the match. It was a very, it was an alright match, and then next thing you know, Cena comes out, and they do R-Truth's / Cena's comeback moves, and then they end up winning the match. And R-Truth got his moment with his childhood hero, even though Truth is 5 years older than him, I think. I think he's 5 years older than him. So that is so it was definitely one weird match. But, and the funny thing is, it's just R-Truth can make it work. How I said a couple weeks ago that Miz should go to TNA and, build himself back up, but it feels like him winning the tag titles, it's doing something for him right now, I guess. So, and Cena, he has to have his streak of consecutive matches for each year, And then one of the things that I noticed is, I think Finn tried challenging him for the tag titles, and if they would have went for the tag titles, I don't think Damian would have been in the match. I think they would have had either Dominic or JD in it, because Damian's the world champion now. He doesn't need to be going for tag gold. I feel like that could be the ending part for Judgment Day, is him having the world title and Finn trying to get back tag gold, and then of course JD, they make JD lose every match, so it's like it's one of those things where it's how do I put it? It's gonna make it a very awkward situation for Judgment Day coming down the road. And one of the few things about that, is I've always thought that Damian, he was, between Damian and Rhea, they were the main, leaders of the whole group. But one thing we need to, get into here is Finn should be, with under Triple H and all into this, he could be one of the few underrated guys that Triple H has. And it's weird to think about, because in his early years with NXT, he was the guy, and then all the injuries happened, and it's just one of those things that sucks. But it's gonna be a very weird situation for Judgment Day if they go with what I'm thinking they're going with, and that's Damian not wanting to go after tag gold, and JD's just losing every match for him. But going on, Indy Hartwell setting up to have a match, and trying to redeem herself from last week after she lost in the tag match to Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile. And another surprise happens. Roxanne Perez comes out. Roxanne Perez is, of course, the new NXT Women's Champion. She had a great match against Lyra Valkyria at NXT Stand and Deliver. And they had I think it was just a short little match. Indy Hartwell or Candice LeRae tried getting involved. Indy Hartwell wasn't having it, and then it ended up costing her the match. And we could see that the heel development that we're getting through with Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell is it's very good in how they're slowly getting it with Candace, because she's now just like not having it with Indy right now. She's like, she's trying to help her, and Indy, we all know Indy, she's not, going to be one of those people that's gonna, do some bullshit to win, Um, so that is just one of the few things that, in speaking of little few things that we get through the women's mid-card division, I have been wanting a women's mid-card division for the last year and a half now, maybe. And now NXT has finally agreed to having one. They're having their first ever North American women's champion, and that'll be coming soon. I'm assuming after the draft. And after thinking about it, with the tag division being all garbage and everything, they need to do the same thing for the main roster, for Raw and SmackDown. Yes, it just adds more belts, but it'll also create more iconic moments for the women who don't get shown as much, like a Rhea Ripley but we all know, when it comes to the mid-card division, and not many people even understand that the mid-card division is one of the most important divisions in wrestling. And you could make an argument for the main event scene, but you need a mid-card division to get to your main event scene. That's how wrestling has always worked. That's how it's always been presented. If you win the mid-card title, you lose it, then you go on right for the main event scene. That's just how it's always been presented through the NWA, WCW, and way back then, in WWE. It's just been how it's always been presented. And most people, they don't get to that main event scene, but a lot of them do, and a lot of them create good moments with, having the mid-card title. How we've seen Cena, beat Big Show for the U.S. title. We've seen Shawn Michaels and Razor go at it for the Intercontinental title for so many years. Bret Hart winning the Intercontinental title. British Bulldog, even though he never got to that main event scene, but still having great moments with those type of championships. And we can get that with the women's division. We can get that with an Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae, Ivy Nile. Hell, Kaden Carter, Katana Chance. Yes, you're breaking up tag teams, but what are you supposed to do with a slim, mediocre women's tag division? You can't do much with it, and plus you got people like Kairi Sane and Asuka, who Asuka's a main event talent, and Kairi Sane, who could be a main event talent in WWE TV and all this, and she's stuck with the tag division that has no competitors that are qualified to even go after them. And it seems like that anyone that wins it, they always get hurt. So it's very frustrating to see that they put the women's wrestlers in the women's mid-card division and that horrifying side of wrestling that we don't want to see, and that's poor decisions, poor booking on all of it. Because let's be honest, the mid-card division is not perfect at all. You get max 2-minute matches, they don't get shown like the main event stars, but yet they should be shown like main event stars. It's very frustrating. I've expressed it so many times in the past, and I'm just hoping that they have that announcement sometime down the future. Which, knowing what they're doing with NXT, everyone that's up in the top creative are gonna look at that and be like, that could work for us too, and scrap those tag titles and bring in those. So, and plus, the women's roster is so slim. It's like, what are you supposed to do next with it, And so that's just one. And one of the best ways is building up a main eventer is putting them through the mid card scene. We've seen it. We've had a huge history with it. I just mentioned off some names. Jericho is another one. Jericho had the European title, IC title, and he was able to get his way up to the main scene with that. So like I said, the minute they bring that out, I'm gonna be out here celebrating. So that's just a few ways to look at it. Sami Zayn, the new Intercontinental Champion. Chad Gable faced Imperium, which, to start with, was, um, Giovanni Vinci, Liquid Kaiser, they were coming out to try to take Sammy out, and then Chad Gable comes involved, and they had a very good tag match. I think that was second best match of the night, in my opinion. They came out, and Chad Gable, I don't even know how to even put it. It was like a mid-air suplex, German suplex. I don't even know how it all came together, but it was. I was watching, and next thing you know, I think it was Giovanni Vinci. No, it was Liquid Kaiser who just flew in the air and then was in the air, and next thing you know, Chad Gable grabs him for a German suplex mid-air. It was fucking insane. And Chad Gable is one of the best wrestlers on the roster. Sami Zayn, one of the best wrestlers on the roster. And they had a very good match. And obviously, after the match, they had a video package of Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. And Sami Zayn offered Chad Gable a title match next week in Sami's hometown. And I have a bad feeling about it. I have a feeling that we could be seeing a heel turn. Because there ain't no way Sami's going to lose 2 weeks in a title reign, And especially in his hometown, there ain't no way he's going to lose. And I feel that Chad Gable's going to turn on Sami because of the frustrations of him wanting that championship back, or wanting that championship match. And we all know he ain't going to win. So it's going to be a weird feeling going through at the end of that match, because I think Chad's going to turn heel because of it. And where that leaves Alpha Academy, I don't know. Hopefully he leaves them behind and they go over and draft at NXT. Who knows? That's just my only hope at this point. So that is definitely some ways to look at it, What else? Chelsea Green was wanting a match. She got her match, and Jade Cargill came out, and she squashed her in like 32 seconds. So that was, it was a squash match. It was a squash match that it feels like, Jade Cargill is gonna be a main eventer. Let's be real here. Jade Cargill is gonna be the woman that they're gonna lean on to for the next 5-10 years. Even though they have women like Bianca, Rhea, and all that, but Jade Cargill, she just has more to herself in my opinion, than they do. She could be their biggest star, and could be their biggest star of all time, in my opinion. She has that potential, that aura to her, and the way she's been training and everything. We've seen the training videos of her in the ring. She's looking a lot better than what she was when she was in AEW. Whether if you're an AEW fan or not, you have to look at it and respect it. She was not well trained, So I guess you can throw out the whole thing. Well, she can't be trained because she was trained by the best wrestlers in AEW. It doesn't matter who you're trained by. It's either certain people have their own training styles, and some of them do better with certain training styles. And Jade Cargill, she's gonna go on a winning streak. She's gonna have that Goldberg type winning streak, in my opinion, and she's gonna be a big star. So that's gonna be something to look forward to over the next couple of months. Main event happened. Drew McIntyre, Bronson Reed, Ricochet, Jey Uso, and they had a very good match. Beforehand, Drew McIntyre called out Damian Priest as a bondage Undertaker. Also told CM Punk to watch out, which coming in later in the match, it's more that Drew needs to watch out even more because Punk cost him the match. Jey Uso looked good. Bronson Reed, the fact that they're putting Bronson Reed in the main event scene now, it's perfect because he's been all year going after the Intercontinental title, and now he's getting that main event, look. It looks great because he looks a lot better than what he did last year. Last year, you go through a 6 to 8 minute match, he'd be gassed out. And now he can do more than that and look better and better and better and better, And that's just the beauty of, and one of the things is a lot of people look at bigger guys like them and they're just like, oh, they're not that good. And last year, Otis, Ivar, Bronson Reed have been proving everybody that even though they're bigger guys, they could still go. They could still, go. And even the Andre Giant Battle Royal, they were cooking. And and to see how well they've been able to go and not be gassed out already in like a 5-minute affair, it's insane. And Ivar has been one of the few guys that people needs to talk about more because he is very talented. He is very talented in the ring. Even though his character is a Viking, it doesn't matter. He is still good in the ring. We've seen shitty characters but good wrestlers. We've seen it in all the time. But going back in the main event match, Ricochet did a 450 splash onto Bronson Reed on the table, not Spanish announce table, which I'm hoping they keep them around because someone's going through that table every week, and you could see before Ricochet does it, he looks over at Samantha Irvin and goes sorry, and then does it, and it was a very cool sequence that Ricochet has been cooking lately. And I've said this before, I've never understood the hype around Ricochet, but the last couple of weeks, he's been proving himself a lot more than what I expected. He's becoming a main eventer in front of our very eyes because of what he's been able to do and the matches that he's had with JD McDonough this week. Hell, you can throw in a broom and he'd still have a good match with it. And you could see that his NXT style of himself is slowly coming back, which is going to be the reason why he wins the championship is because of that. Even though he's won, the Intercontinental title in the past, but I mean like a world championship and all that. Hell, that could be one of the reasons he could win the King of the Ring, King Ricochet. That sounds pretty good too. And at the end, it comes down to Drew and Jay. Punk was under the ring. He grabs Drew's legs, and Jay does the super kick splash 1, 2, 3, or spear 1, 2, 3, and that's how the show ends with Punk pretty much laughing at Drew McIntyre. I'm very worried about this. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love Jey Uso, and his character's good. It's a good vibe and all that, but we need to have a bad conversation because after what happened at WrestleMania, you really expect us to see that match and be like, oh, Jay deserves that match. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but he needs to update his moveset a little bit if we're gonna, support this. And especially with me, because one of the things is if you're just gonna throw super kicks around like the Usos did, you're not gonna have a good match. And when we get to France, you get the Backlash. Jay needs to do more than what we've seen at WrestleMania. He needs to bring out a new version of himself. Otherwise, the fans are going to slowly turn on him, and it's not going to look great because, let's be real, Jimmy's not a great singles superstar wrestler at all. He's not the greatest. And Jay, we're slowly noticing that he's starting to become that way too. Yes, he's had good matches with Gunther and all that, but when you have a match like you have with Jimmy, and then you automatically get a world title shot, man, it's hard to sit there and defend that, you know. And one of the people I thought should have won was Bronson Reed, knowing that he's been getting up in the push. He's won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Ricochet's another guy. Drew, obviously, he's gonna be doing stuff with Punk, so it's I'm gonna be looking an eye out for Jey Uso over the next couple of weeks, and if my opinion changes on it, I'm gonna say it. Other than that, it's gonna be a very negative response coming out of me, and I'm not much of a negative person when it comes to wrestling. But if there's something that needs to be fixed, or something that I'm not liking, I'm gonna sit here and say it. I feel like a lot of people feel the same way. The character and all that's great. It's just the movesets need to be much better, because we are now heading into a time where it's not just about entertainment. It's about professional wrestling, and the side of professional wrestling that a lot of the older people would know about, like the Ric Flairs, the Dusty Rhodes, those type of matches, and it's just, in the newer age of wrestling fans, they see someone do a backflip into a Canadian Destroyer and a bunch of other flips, and they say, "Damn, that match was amazing." But we'll look at a guy like Danielson, or hell, even sometimes with Charlie Dempsey and all that, and they'd be like, "Well, they don't have charisma. They can't talk on a promo." We're getting out of those ages. We're getting out of the age of people having to be good on promos to get shots at titles. We're not in the Vince era anymore. The Triple H era is going to show us why professional wrestling is the best. And I'm not saying AEW hasn't shown that. AEW has shown that professional wrestling is fucking amazing. But with also having the mix of WWE and Triple H's mind in there, knowing what he did with NXT, all I gotta say is we're all coming in for a wild ride with Triple H. And if you don't want to accept the fact that we're getting out of that only storytelling stuff, then you're in the wrong business, because it's professional wrestling, not sports entertainment. So that's all I gotta say about that. Y'all stay blessed. Have a great day. Tomorrow I'm gonna talk about NXT. And Wednesday, so today was Tuesday. Wednesday will be NXT. Thursday will be AEW. If you want to hear Ring of Honor TNA thoughts, I'll put that in there too, because I watched that too. NFL Mock Draft is coming out soon. Need to start doing that quick, because I have a good list of what I feel like is gonna happen, but who knows? It's the NFL. If you like any NFL football content, this is the place to be. And follow the Twitter, follow the TikTok, Olus, to get more content for TikTok or through wrestling and football. And if you don't like any of those, I don't know what to tell you. So, have a great day. Stay blessed.